Hey, what's up, world? Today we're going to have a conversation about black men frolicking. Some of you saw the viral posts all over TikTok and Instagram and social media when black men were literally frolicking. They were running all around the fields and running through the grass, their backyards, running down the road as they held their iPhones and smiled and laughed.
Oh my God! I'm frolicking. Why y'all ain't tell me we was frolicking? I'm still frolicking. Oh, we frolicking? That's what we doing? We frolicking? Let me get my frolic on. Oh.
I seen the video. I had a frolic in the field with the motherfucking ACs. Life is so good.
I'm frolicking.
And I loved it, if I'm being honest, because it was a great representation of black boy joy. I mean, I did it. So that's not the black man frolicking that I'll be talking about today. The black man frolicking that I'll be talking about today is the point that black men are wandering around in their lives aimlessly, without aim, without focus, without true purpose. I'm raising my hand because I was guilty of that. I was once around here frolicking too. All right? And I got the divorce to show for it. I'm happily married now though, but I got the divorce to show for it. I got the baby mamas to show for it. I once had the inconsistent career to show for it, right? And a lot of you men who are watching this right now, and a lot of the men that you know were once just, right now, are just like I once was. Unfulfilled, unhappy, distracted, and just floating and frolicking my life away. So let's talk. So this is actually the first conversation that I'll be having with you all on this here series, Man on Purpose, right? Man on Purpose is a series of conversations that I'll be having with black men. And I want to make that clear. I am talking to black men, point blank and period. And it is my goal to help black men to grow, to heal, to evolve, to elevate, for you to be the best versions of yourselves. Like, my mission is very clear. I desire to restore the black family by helping black men heal. That's my goal. So if you come over here and join this community, understand that that is the purpose of this here community. Man on Purpose. A little bit about me, I'm Chris James. I am a certified anger management specialist. I am a mental health first aid instructor for the National Council of Mental Well-Being. I run a statewide program here in Atlanta, all around Georgia, called Black Boys Better, where we provide mental health education and services for black boys. So that's a little bit about me. I'm also a husband. I'm a father. I'm a brother. I'm a son. I am truly committed to serving my community. And this right here is one of the ways that I plan to do it. So here's a mantra that I'll be saying every conversation we have on Man on Purpose. You can repeat it after me. I am a man on purpose. I am a man in purpose. I am purpose. And I want you to hold that, I want you to believe that, and I want you to operate in that. So, now that we've said our mantra, we can continue the conversation. So again, today's conversation is about black men frolicking. So, man on purpose. The opposite of a man on purpose is, yes, you guessed it, a black man frolicking. But to be a little bit more specific, the opposite of a man on purpose is a man on accident. Let that sit in. That's a bar. The opposite of a man on purpose is a man on accident. And take this right here that I'm about to give you. Some of us were already accidents. Some of us were already oops babies. Right? Oops. Hey, I'm keeping it. Boom, we here 9 months later, right? Some of us were already accidents. And now, years later, 25, 35, 45, 50 years later, some of us men are still out here operating on accident. We are operating in our lives without true aim, without a true target, without a true mission in our lives. If you ask a man on accident how he got where he is right now, he may respond something like, I don't know. I mean, you ask a man on accident, what are we doing, right? From a woman, right? A woman asks, what are we doing? He's like, I mean, we just vibing. I don't know. That's a man on accident. A man on accident will put in his GPS, I don't know, and expect to get to a specific location. Impossible. A man on accident, he falls in love. He falls in love when he instead should be walking into love. A man on accident falls in love because he just finds himself in relationships because it feels good. And then he realizes months later and years later that this woman is actually not in alignment with who he desires to be. That's a man on accident, y'all. And then a man on accident ends up being with that woman for 5, 10 years without making her a wife, so she can begin doing the work that she's assigned to do on this earth. According to the word, it said it's to be a wife. But she out here frolicking with you because you frolicking. A man on accident. I tell men all the time that if you go lead a woman, you need to have a clear mission. You need to have a clear mission because women thrive in clarity. And let's be clear, men thrive in clarity. You can't lead other men if you don't have a clear mission, a clear why, a clear where. Like, it has to be clear, everything. We can't be out here frolicking. We can't be out here being men on accident. Again, we thrive in clarity. And we self-destruct in confusion. Men, you got to figure out your mission in life, your purpose, your why. I want you to hear this word, right? Especially men who desire to be husbands, men who are husbands, or if you are in relationship with a woman, right? And I want to be clear out. This conversation, man on purpose, this conversation is for men who desire to be husbands and men who are husbands. If you just want to frolic and philander with women for the rest of your life, I ain't even talking to you anyway. But for men who desire to lead a family, right, to be a husband, a house bund, as Dr. Miles Monroe says, right? You know, again, the etymology of the word husband is house bund. You are the bunder of the house. But again, you cannot be the bunder of your house. You cannot be the leader of your house or the head of your house if you don't know the mission. A woman is not supposed to submit to you just because you are a man alone. She will submit to you with confidence when you have a mission. Here's the word submission. Sub, under, mission, aim, target, goal. She is submitting to the mission as you are. God gave you an assignment. God gave you an assignment. You are assigned to do something in this life of yours. So when you bring a woman in it, when you bring children in it, they are putting themselves under the mission that you are leading, that was ordained in you, that was put in you through God. But you need to be clear about what that mission is, the why and the what. And then she'll submit. Then your followers, the folks who work for your company, they'll submit. They'll stay. It'll be a lot more sustainable because we know what we're doing and why we're doing it and where we're going and how it benefits us all. A man on accident, hear me, I want you to hear this too. A man on accident has new goals every new year, and they ain't connected to what he had planned last year. Completely new goals every year. Because the problem is a man on accident is not operating in purpose, so he is what? Easily distracted. You know, I say this all the time, like, people will not invite me to any sales marketing meetings or any of these type of groups because they know that I'm not going for no pyramid marketing company. Why? Because I'm focused on my focus. You can't move me with money. You can't move me with new opportunities. You can't move me with the new hot trend, right? Because I don't move based on what feels good, right? I move on what is purpose-led. Simple. I don't pivot. But a man on accident is easily distracted and he pivots all the time because he is not steadfast in purpose. So I ask you men, every man that's watching this, why do you wake up every day? And if your answer is money, to get the bag, I want you to think deeper. Because that's not purpose-filled. You can't connect your purpose to something that is always fleeting. Money is just a tool, but it should not be your God. You should not be a slave to it. All right, now let's get to the juicy stuff. Let's get to the solution. I talked a lot about the problem. Now let's talk about the solution. Because purposeful men are solution-based. I would be a man on accident if I sat on here and talked to y'all for 15, 20, 30 minutes and just complained about the problem. I want to talk about the solution. Being a man on purpose. But first, what is purpose? Purpose is defined as the reason in which a thing exists or is done. And then right here, I got to pull it up. It says, the reason in which something exists or is done. It says the aim or intention of something. That's purpose. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I know exactly who I'm supposed to be serving. I know exactly where I am going as a result of my servitude. I know exactly why. There ain't no questions about it. And because I operate in purpose, I'm fulfilled. I'm happy. I'm at peace. So again, purpose is the reason in which something exists or is done. The aim or intention of a thing. That's purpose. So now, I want to go into a quick story about a man that I met in 2015, 2016 who was purposeful. And the interesting thing about this man, Carl wasn't a rich man, but he was a wealthy man. And he was wealthy because he understood his purpose. Carl, I met him at Texas Roadhouse in Arkansas. And I'm eating, I go for the rolls. I'm sure y'all do too, the rolls and the butter. But Carl was bussing tables. And he was doing it with astronomical speed. He was doing it fast. He was moving. Carl was doing this like he enjoyed it first off. And you would see like every so often people were pulling out cameras to record him because it was truly fascinating like how he was doing what he was doing. Like I was impressed. I was so impressed that I had to stop Carl as he was busting a table next to me. And I asked him, I was like, man, like, what's the excitement like behind, you busting these tables at Texas Roadhouse? And he said his daughter. He pulled out his phone and he showed me a picture of his daughter on his phone. He was excited about doing the thing that he was doing because he knew that as a result of doing what he was doing, that he would be able to serve his daughter. That was his purpose, to serve his daughter. A lot of people think that their jobs is their purpose. It's not. Some of you work at trash companies, some of you work at a Fortune 500, but that doesn't mean that's your purpose. And because you operate in life as if that is your purpose, as if you're valuable because you do that thing, you've been tricked out of focusing on what purpose truly is for you. Carl knew that his purpose was to serve his family. Because one day I was riding down the street in North Little Rock, Arkansas, and I saw Carl walking his daughter to school. I talked to Carl afterwards. He says, man, I walk my daughter to school every day. Every morning at 7:45 a.m., Carl walked his daughter to school. Carl was purposeful. Carl is a man on purpose. Shout out to Carl if you see this video, brother. I'm still talking about you almost 10 years later. Because, man, your story, your purpose-filled mission, it spoke volumes to me, man, for real, for real. And then the second thing I want to tell you all about is a book called The Second Mountain by David Brooks. He talks about Mountain 1 is the phase in our life when we are doing everything for ourselves. It's a very pleasure-filled phase of your life, right? For me on Mountain 1, I drove a 2-door Camaro, but I got 5 kids. That car was just for me, y'all. On Mountain 1, you were doing all these things that serve you. It's all about you, right? You got a 1-bedroom house. You ain't trying to house nobody. Your friends can't come to your house and stay. You ain't throwing no gathering for nobody. On Mountain 1, you are focused on the girl that makes you feel good, right? She look good, she smell good, she do some good, right? Yeah, right? That's Mountain 1, right? But she don't multiply your life in no way. She don't multiply your joy. She don't multiply your wellness. That's Mountain 1 mindset, right? Mountain 1 mindset is, man, I'm going to invest all my money and time and energy into this because I know it's going to make me a millionaire in a year or 3 years or 5 years, but it makes you miserable. That's Mountain 1. Mountain 1 mindset is, I want to work out because I want to look good. I want to be sexy. That's Mountain 1. And I'll tell you why that's a problem. Some of y'all are like, what's wrong with that? I'll explain to you. But again, Mountain 1 is all about self. You are serving self. And then David Brooks talks about in the book, The Second Mountain, that eventually you hit a valley, right? Some of you taught for 30 years and realized that you weren't fulfilled as a result of that. Some of you were married to a certain person for so long, in a relationship with a person, and then you hit a valley because, again, you realize that relationship or that job or that thing that you were doing, it wasn't purpose-filled. It was just self-serving. So you hit a valley, a rock bottom, right? Or you hit this space of like, there has to be more to life. And then eventually, you find yourself on Mountain 2. Mountain 2, you discover that fulfillment comes from the intentional servitude of others. It is intentional servitude to others. That's what you discover on Mountain 2, and you discover that fulfillment is there. Fulfillment is there. On Mountain 2, you realize that success is when you do good for yourself. But fulfillment is when you do good for others. That's what you discover on Mountain 2. In Mountain 2, you may find yourself going from being a school teacher for 20 years to now working at the local plantery, at the local farmer's market. Or Mountain 2, it could look like Mountain 1 you had the Camaro, but Mountain 2 you got the minivan, because you know that it's more valuable to be able to have your whole family to ride with you. Right? Mountain 1 looked like you had a 2-bedroom townhouse, but on Mountain 2, you say, man, I'm going to get a 5-bedroom, even though it's just me and my wife, and I'm going to get 5 acres because the family may need somewhere to come stay when they doing bad. Or my cousin may need to come park his camper on one of my acres of land for a while. Right? Mountain 2 is always thinking about how can I serve others. Again, Mountain 1, you wanted to work out and be sexy and strong for yourself. But on Mountain 2, you committed to working out and staying and eating healthy and being healthy mentally and emotionally, because you want to be around for a while for your family. Not only for your children, but for their children, and then even their children. Right? You don't want to be dying by 35, 45 from heart disease, right? Because you know that's taking us out, right, man? Because we unhealthy, we unhappy, we stressed. Mountain 2, you're considering everybody around you. But also on Mountain 2, you're still considering yourself. Because on Mountain 2, again, you are happy, you are healthy, and you are whole. On Mountain 2, you are purposeful. Here's the last thing I want to tell you about purpose. For those who still may be struggling a little bit to understand, well, what is purpose? How do I figure out my purpose? I'll give it to you in a simple way. And this is something my homeboy sister says. He says your purpose is to become the best version of yourself. And then I like to add to that, part 2 of your purpose is to help others become the best versions of themselves. So Mountain 1 and Mountain 2 kind of go together. Become the best version of yourself. Help others become the best versions of themselves. That's a purposeful life. That's what you should be doing. Earlier, I saw an analogy being preached on social media, and the gentleman said that a plum tree don't eat plums. An apple tree don't eat apples. A lemon tree don't eat lemons. Right? They said because they realized that their fruit is not for them. It's for those who pass them by. So in other words, your gift, your purpose, your assignment in life is not for you. It's for those who pass you by. Your gift is for everyone around you. Every day you wake up, again, make it your purpose to make other people's lives around you better. And in that same breath, when you give a lot, you receive a lot. Because that's how the world works. It's a circle. Everything goes around. What you give comes back. When I did the work to become the best version of myself, when I did the work to work on my mental health, when I did the work to work on my spiritual health, my physical health. Everything else came. The money came. The happy, healthy marriage came. The healthy relationships with my children came. The healthy relationships with my friends came. Everything came as a result of me doing the work to be purposeful. So here's my assignment to you, everybody who's watching this, every man who is watching this, this is what I give to you. As you do the work to define your purpose and to be purposeful, I want you to answer these questions to yourself. Who am I? Why am I? Where am I going? And what can I do to make people's lives better? You answer those questions, and you'll be on purpose. So in closing, I say this with love to every black man watching this. Be a man on purpose. Peace. See you soon.